Hello again and welcome to Arch Eats. My name is George Mahey.
And I'm Cheryl Bear.
And this, if anyone is keeping track, this is episode 20 of Arch Eats.
They haven't gotten rid of us yet,
No,
George.
it's amazing. And this episode, we're going to be talking about getting out of town. We're going to be talking about taking what we're going to call mini road trips for meals, for breakfasts and for brunches and for lunches and for dinners. And but none of them are going to be beyond 30 or 40 minutes, which I think is really cool. So you can go for a lunch and come right back.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to dedicate a whole day and stay overnight.
We're not going to Antarctica as if we
we
wish we could.
We're not going far. No, we're not going far at all, which is great. And we've got about 10 places we want to recommend. And then we'll end up, as we always do, with a micro rant. And this one's about contradictory menu prices, something that we've been seeing more and more. By that, I mean the prices are different online than on the menu in the restaurant. And that can cause a lot of problems. We have some comments and we have some solutions.
This episode is sponsored by Stages St. Louis.
But first, we're going to start, as we always do, with what I can't stop thinking about this week. Should I go first? Because you know what? You know this. I got so excited because I told you about this before.
This is one of those moments where you got that excited you had to reach out right away.
I did immediately, and I think I talked for 20 minutes. I'm going to cut it much shorter this time. But this is about Kim's Bop Shop.
Yes.
And this is a little ghost kitchen on Hampton Avenue at the Hill Food Company. It's run by a young chef and his chef wife, and it's just amazingly good. Their tagline is New School Korean Bowls and Rolls. So they've got kind of Chipotle-style bowls where you can, you've got the base and you can put toppings on, and then they've got a bunch of homemade sauces and goodies to put on top of that. They've got some composed bowls as well. But the rolls is what I really like and was gravitated to. And these are called kimbops, a Korean seaweed-wrapped rice roll. And let me tell you, I had a couple of them, and these things were delicious. The one I had was Mama Kim's Kimbop. It's got beef bulgogi. It's got pickled vegetables,
that sounds delicious.
An egg omelet, Thai basil, and honey gochujang, which is, that's the sweet and spicy condiment.
George, this sounds heavenly.
It was so incredibly good. The gochujang is on the side. This was just so tasty and so fresh, and everything's just made right there. And it just incredible fresh flavors. It kind of reminded me of Lana's Little Eats in how fresh and tasty, and I just wish that I could eat this stuff every day. And I haven't been back yet, but I want to go.
That is a bold statement.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. They've got I also had an order of crispy vegetable mandu, which is just like a pot sticker.
Mm-hmm.
You can do those pot stickers anyway. You can steam them or boil them or pan fry them. And these were deep fried. And they were delicious. And it was a vegetable one, but they put some soy protein in there, which tasted just like pork sausage. And I thought that they slipped me the wrong one. I thought I got the meat mandu. And no, they said that is what the vegetable mandu tastes like. So don't be confused if you think you got a sausage mandu. They only have one version, and it's a vegetable version. They've got a kimbap this is funny, they call it K-Army. For Korean Army kimbap. It's inspired by the Korean Army, and it contains Spam.
So fun.
They've got fried chicken bites that they put in a Korean hot honey sauce.
Who doesn't love Korean fried chicken?
Yeah. And, this just might be their next big thing. Honey butter tater tots.
Oh, my gosh. Excuse me?
Yeah. I had you at tater tots, I'm sure.
And honey butter. I mean, tater tots alone, honey butter alone, you combine these?
Yeah.
You've got to be kidding me.
It's just this incredibly cool place. They make a gochujang salted caramel cookie for dessert. But better than that is they just threw this in on the side, a banana milk pudding, which was just like ambrosia, made with banana milk, which was a childhood favorite of these folks. Apparently, this is a thing in Korea.
Okay.
You combine bananas and milk and water and sweetener, and you make banana milk, and it's good for overripe bananas too.
Sure.
So anyway, they've just all these fun things that they do there. This young couple both graduated from the Culinary Institute of America. They met there. They fell in love there. They got married. And they were going to end up, I think they did end up in Chicago. I think the pandemic hit. I think they were ready to sign a lease at a place.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And the pandemic hit, and that just derailed that. So,
and it was going to be more of an actual sit-down restaurant, I
Yeah,
want to say.
I think so.
Yeah.
So they moved to St. Louis, which was Nicole's hometown, and they decided to do a fast casual concept. And again, this is the Hill Food Company, Ghost Kitchen, probably signed a year's lease, just trying to see if there's proof of concept, see if anybody even wants to eat this kind of food. And let me tell you, they do, I did, and it is just outstanding. I mean, the whole menu, sometimes on these, what I can't stop thinking about, we talk about a sandwich
Yeah.
or a specific dish. The whole menu, everything I had was
Wow.
really good.
Wow.
At the Hill Food Company, you can have things delivered, but I went and picked mine up and just brought it home, and that's the way to go. I'm pretty sure that these folks have felt that their concept has been proven already, and I can't wait to see what they do next, because I'm guessing they'll be at a brick and mortar within a year. That's my prediction. But in the meantime, this is an outstanding just array of fresh goodies.
Wow. This is one of those exciting situations where you have people who they bring all this culinary firepower that used to be reserved for upscale kind of sit down dinner restaurants, but they're doing it in such a casual format and you don't have to sacrifice one for the other. It's really exciting to see.
It was so good. And the owner, Sean, told me, he said that his mom would pack these kimbops in his lunchbox.
Oh,
and they'd
great.
make him anytime they went on a picnic. And if he was feeling sick, they made him feel better. All their food made me feel better.
Oh, George, this is wonderful. I can't wait to go. Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow. This is a ringing endorsement. That sounds like a fun place.
So that's, sorry I took 20 minutes, folks.
No,
but I'm
no.
telling you, it's worth it.
That's great. Well, I will keep mine a little bit shorter then, I guess, but I am equally enthused about a place that I wandered into. I heard they had some kind of new goings-ons. They've been around for, gosh, I guess about a year and a half.
I'd say a year.
Yeah, about a year maybe. It's called Black Mountain Wine House, and it's in the Central West End. It was West End Grill and Pub.
That was the landmark. That's what most people will remember.
Which, that was a beloved neighborhood institution. It was the heir to Duff's, if people, remember that gone but never forgotten
Right.
icon of the St. Louis restaurant scene. But anyway, this Black Mountain Wine House has come in, and I can see it being a wonderful heir to that sort of neighborhood gathering place spot. It's got a very kind of independent spirit to it. I don't want to necessarily say quirky. It's not. It just has a very indie vibe, from the decor to this kind of we're going to cook what we want to cook sort of ethos, to these really exciting wines that they have. They have a small bottle shop there. They do a family style pasta night once a week. They do a pizza night once a week. They're building, like the guy's brother-in-law is building a wood oven out on this new patio. They kind of, instead of like paved paradise and put in a parking lot, they mulched over a parking lot. And, I love it.
That.
It's just such a fun spot. And I highly encourage anyone who, you want a low-key place, you want to meet with a friend, have a bottle of wine or a glass of wine. They have really exciting things on there. A lot of natural wines, a lot of like labels that you're not super familiar with. You probably won't see them at the store.
Didn't they start an oyster program recently?
They're doing First Fridays. They're bringing in oysters once a month, first Friday of the month, and just kind of doing that there. This is going to be my new spot. This is like kind of that little tucked away place where it's just going to be my new bar, I think. And they have great food too. I had some pork meatballs there that were outstanding. I had a great panzanella. So I think the sky's the limit with this place. And
Love it.
I'm excited about it.
Sounds very Central West End, very
Yes.
very Duff's-ish.
Very Duff's-ish.
It has its own personality.
Yeah.
It's different and funky and appropriate to the neighborhood.
Yes, I think that's what was really resonating with me, is it really kind of had that feel of one of those like old Central West End restaurants that just had such a, kind of unique voice.
Yes. We'll be right back.
Stages St. Louis is the region's foremost not-for-profit organization committed to preserving and advancing the art form of musical theater through excellence in performance and education. See Disney's Newsies on stage at the Kirkwood Performing Arts Center from July 26th through August 25th. Visit stagesstlewis.org or call 314-821-2407 to purchase tickets. And now, back to the show.
We're going to be talking about taking these mini road trips And I think all of mine were in 30 minutes of my house, which
Yeah.
is really a mini, 30 minutes is nothing. And you've got the same, we were each going to do 5. Where you want to take me first?
Yeah, well, and to that point, we could have opened this up. I think when we originally talked about it, we were like, we're going to do dining destinations and where do you cut it off? Is it an hour away? Is it 2 hours away? Is it within a day's drive? But I think when we dug into this, we started realizing, wow, maybe we can actually start closer and just keep going out because we found quite a few that are
And
within
I guess it is
not that much.
roughly Metro St.
Yeah.
Louis, even though it's 30 or 45 minutes
Yeah.
from some people's houses. But still, I call that a mini road trip.
Yeah. And it makes you feel like you're still getting out of town,
Right.
which I think is fun. You don't
Yes.
have to drive 3 hours to feel like you've kind of gotten away for the day.
Right. And on a day
Yeah.
like today, you just want to get in that car, turn
Oh
on
my
the air conditioner, and go
Yes.
somewhere.
Listen to some music and do it. So I guess the funny thing with me, now living out in the wilderness, as I like to call it, this place is actually one of the closest restaurants to my house. But for people who live in civilization,
It's the sticks.
yeah, it's going to be about 50 minutes away from you. This place is in Labadee. It's called the Hawthorne Inn. Now, this is an institution. It draws people from kind of, I would say that area, like Labadee, St. Albans, Washington, Missouri, probably Pacific, kind of that. I think that general vibe. The drive out there is gorgeous. I'll just tell you that. Rolling hills, tons of trees, great landscape. Depending on where you come from, you go past like St. Albans Golf Course. I mean,
It's beautiful.
it's gorgeous. And then you get there and it's this, it's kind of in this little like main street, very tiny main street, maybe more like a main nook or something. And
Is Roadhouse appropriate? Does it have that vibe?
I would say it's a little bit more kind of like an upscale family restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a roadhouse. They have a burger on the menu, but you're not going to get like burgers and like that kind of food. The things I always get there, they have a fantastic steak. They have this steak butter that is to die for, like this really like garlicky, delicious butter. I just want to put it on everything. So their strip is my go-to. And then, of course, it comes with like your foil baked potato.
Sure.
And your probably overdressed St. Louis style Italian salad with like cheese and drowning in dressing, which, I mean, who doesn't love it? There's time and a place for everything.
Sure.
Of course, they have, like flash fried spinach, which I love. Their pastas are excellent. They have a couple really great seafood pastas on there. They have like a really great chicken spinach one. I mean, they have a pork chop. They've got sandwiches. I love this place. It has this feel of kind of like the neighborhood restaurant where people go out when they want like their dinner.
So is this a dinner house or lunch and dinner?
So they are open for lunch and dinner. I typically go there for dinner because, like I'm telling you, I love the steak. And it kind of gives me that vibe of Tucker's where I'm getting a great steak, but I'm getting a complete meal and it's not going to cost me an arm and a leg.
Not a lot of money.
I want to say it's like in the low 30s. And it comes with your side and it comes with,
That salad, like
with
I
the
made
salad,
it, like I made it
yes.
home last night. Exactly that salad.
Exactly. So I highly recommend it. You'll love the drive. They have a little distillery across the street too. So, after dinner, if you want to walk around a little bit, kind of gives you this complete package. So do not sleep on the Hawthorne Inn. It's a lot of fun.
Now you've got another place. You're going to go to the other side of the river.
I am. Well, I've got a couple on the other side of the river. Aside from the city manager, the police chief, and the mayor, I am would that put me as the 4th most bullish person on Wood River, Illinois, maybe out there?
Sure.
So people laugh at me when I say that downtown Wood River is this fun, emerging place. But, the powers that be out there have gotten together and have really made this concerted effort to revitalize their historic downtown. And, they have like a pinball bar out there. They have a couple retail shops, a coffee shop. There's other restaurants coming in. But my particular favorite is 1929 Pizza and Wine. This is a place that comes from Matt and Amy Herron, who are these longtime Edwardsville restaurateurs. George, you know the Herrons.
Yes. They started
Yes.
Fond. There was Goshen Coffee. There was
Yep.
222 Artisan Bakery.
Yeah.
And they started a bagel place. They did all those places before they did 1929.
Exactly. It's so funny too. They're married now, but apparently when she was at Fond and he was, doing Goshen and the bakery.
That was a great story. Any
So funny.
listeners that need to pull up that Q&A with Matt and Amy Heron that you did, because it was hilarious. He said he would drive by her store and she would flip him off.
Yeah, they hated
each other.
Like at each other's
and
throats.
I remember the story. There was some power failure. He took a generator to
Yeah.
her store, stood outside her walk-in, and they just like cussed at each other.
Yes.
And the next thing that you know, they're dating,
Yeah.
and now they're married.
Now they're
and
married.
just like the coolest couple ever.
Exactly. They are the best. They are so funny. And when you meet them, and you will meet them out there because, this is a small scale family operation. There's just this kind of like irreverence to them that's so much fun. But their pizza is outrageous. It is some of the best pizza in town. It's wood fired. I would call it Neapolitan because it's a little heftier than that. But let me tell you, they have this 4-cheese pizza out there made with their house-made ricotta that I would drive. I mean, it's probably 25 minutes from downtown. I would drive 10 hours from downtown. This pizza is fantastic. So love, love, love 1929.
They really did make a splash in Wood River when they opened these two places, the
Yeah.
bagel place in 1929, because they decided to give everybody a living wage. And their starting
Yeah.
wage was, I think, $16 an hour, which is kind of unheard of.
Especially in Wood River.
Wood
Yeah.
River. But they
yeah.
said, no, this is the right thing to do. And I remember, I think you wrote this in your article. We live by pride before profits.
Oh, I love it.
Isn't that
that's
great?
them.
And that's them.
That is the two of
Matt
them.
and Amy Heron, love those guys.
Yes. And that you will taste that in their food. They are so committed to bringing the absolute best. So, yes. So, those are two that I kind of have here. I got a couple more, but I'm curious to see what's on yours.
We'll stay over in Metro East. There is a place called Musali's Prime.
Oh,
And this is
yes.
the three brothers, two chefs, and I think a manager, and then there's a managing couple there too. But these guys just got back from their summer vacation. I think they started their place in 2019. And I remember writing about it then because they claimed something that I'd never seen, I'd never heard, and they're still doing it. They have the most exclusive beef in the metro area,
Really?
anywhere.
Really?
This is the formerly, remember Andrea's Countryside Restaurant? It's in that building.
Yes.
So the beef they get is from Nyman Ranch. It's Nyman Ranch certified Angus beef prime, all natural.
Wow.
It's a big mouthful.
Yeah.
Translates to the top 0.1% of the U.S. beef market.
0.1%, not 1%.
No, only
0.1.
And according to them, only 3 or 4
Wow.
restaurants in the country serve this product.
Oh my God.
And you can get it in Edwardsville at Musali's Prime.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. And what's even cooler is the price isn't, you'd think it was, oh my gosh, it's going to be $100 a steak.
Yeah.
The 8-ounce filet is $69, which
Okay.
is expensive. But you can get the filet medallions, 8 ounces of medallions with a cognac cream sauce that has like crab and shrimp and mushrooms on it for $59.
Oh, wow.
That's the best deal in town. And again, this beef, you won't find any beef like
Wow.
this in the metro area or really almost anywhere.
Yeah.
They just do a great job over there. And I think there's a couple dining rooms, but there's a 4-season patio where I like to go. And it's not for as fancy as it's kind of sound.
Mhm.
It's pretty simple on the inside,
Really?
This patio, though, it's like you're in the woods.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
the Musali's is on 5 acres in Edwardsville. And I mean, it's just a great place. They've got a lot of other great items too. You can get, there's handcrafted pasta there. They'll do a cheeseburger on a house-made bun. And again, this is the trim from all this great beef, right?
Wow.
And they'll do carne asada tacos. Again, the beef's good. They'll do a carne asada taco salad. And they even do a cow soy there. Now, I haven't had that cow soy with braised beef. And like I said, the beef's good.
Well, and I know that that's one of your favorite dishes. So
Yeah.
we got to try that.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is again, it's kind of a steakhouse, but everything is composed. It's not an a la carte place.
Mhm.
You get a composed plate. So all these prices you see are for a complete meal. They grow a lot of produce on site. It's just typical. I mean, it's a real farm to table restaurant with the farm right out in the backyard.
Wow.
Musali's Prime, they've been there 5 years, still serving great beef, owned by three brothers. It's just an awesome, it's 30 minutes from St. Louis.
Yeah. That sounds delicious. I can't believe that about the beef too. I feel like we have so many great places here in town, but that sounds like it's worth the
I think it's
drive.
it's still, even after 5 years, it's this hidden gem. It's
Yeah.
something that people don't know about. And again, they started this 5 years ago and they're still doing it. I thought maybe they would have shifted, how people are changing things and
Yeah.
and taking a cheaper route. Nope, they haven't not done that at all.
Oh,
So
good for
just the
them.
same as it always was.
Gosh, that sounds great. What else is on? Do you have any other Metro East
Yes,
or
I do. I've got
Yeah.
one. This place is great. It's called Grafted Wine Bar.
Oh,
And
yes.
they just celebrated their 3-year anniversary. They opened in 2021. But it's a quirky place, and I mean that in the best way. But they do some things that normally I don't like. There's no phone.
Oh, yeah.
There's no posted menu.
The pet peeve.
Right. No posted menu because it changes so often.
Okay.
They don't allow children. There's no more than 6 guests because all the tables are these little bistro tables. They can't really easily accommodate parties any bigger than 6. The reservations are done by messaging through Facebook or Instagram. So, I mean, they do things a little bit differently. The woman that owns it is an advanced sommelier. Her name's Magna Gilpin. And but she's just a charming woman who's operates this 1850s townhome. And it's this an outstanding, a beautiful building.
Wow.
I mean, I took a picture of it at sunset, and it was breathtaking. There's
Oh,
a big cupola on top, like the Widow's Walk on top.
sure.
And again, it's a wine bar, so they've got on their wine menu, they do it by flavor profile. So
Mhm.
I think it starts with Sweet Tooth and goes to
Mhm.
butter and toast, and then into summer in a glass, and then you get into the
This is
reds.
lovely.
But it's so cool inside. There's an old world room which is kind of decorated in period antiques from
Mhm.
when the place opened in the 1850s, and then there's a more modern mid-century room called New World Room. The patio wraps around the building. She put some bocce courts in out back. Anyway, it's the most charming place. They've
Wow.
got a very, very limited menu, though. People need to know about that. It's basically charcuterie and cheese
Okay.
and some specials of the night. That's why she doesn't post the menu, because it's literally specials of the night. And
Can you make like a dinner out of there? Or would you recommend like maybe post dinner, pre dinner? It's more like snacks and stuff.
you know what? It could be either one. They do specials, and I know seasonally, like she's doing her potato pancakes were very, very
Ooh.
successful. So there's now a potato pancake menu Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night.
Ah,
5 potato pancakes from around the world. You've got some from Korea, some Indian, some Sicilian influence, some Polish, since Magda is Polish. Anyway, so we had some potato pancakes and the charcuterie board and some wine, and the cocktails are outstanding too. I mean, this is a true hidden gem.
wow.
And again, it's social media presence is it's kind of hiding there.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't tell what the menu is, but boy, I suggest that anybody go, hang out, have any kind of drink, and you'll just have a good time. I'm telling you, it's a really exciting place in this beautiful old building. I think there's 28 wines by the glass, maybe 100 bottles, so there's plenty to pick from. And again, the woman's an advanced som, so you're not going to go wrong with the wine.
Yeah, right. Oh, that sounds so lovely. Wow. Well, I feel like, we're on
Top
a roll
that,
here.
top that one.
Yeah, well, I guess we're on a Metro East roll. I'm going to, kind of keep it over there in Shiloh with a place called June's Breakfast and Patio.
Yeah,
And
I've never been there. That's good.
yeah,
I'm glad you picked that, because
so
I have no idea what you're talking
this
about.
is just a darling place. You want to talk about like a little historic farmhouse turned breakfast spot, basically. The owner, she was out by her name's Liz. She was out like riding her bike one time, happened upon this historic house and thought, gosh, I love this house. This looks beautiful. Wouldn't it be great if we had a nice daytime gathering place? So she converted it into this charming little neighborhood restaurant. Very simple. Think of things like, kind of a breakfast time risotto. They have a really fantastic biscuit sandwich, there, like with local sausage and farm eggs. a really cute patio outside. It's just one of those places that you feel like you're eating in someone's home. Probably because you are eating in someone's old home, but
Yeah.
it was someone's home back then. But just, good coffee, a charming little spot. Like maybe if you're driving out there, say you're driving out to like Metro East for the day or, you're headed on a little bit longer road trip, like I would definitely recommend hitting this. It's just a darling spot. So I recommend June's Breakfast and Patio. The
Mm.
patio is just, you talk about like this charming space. You saw yours at sunset. I actually saw mine at, in the day, like the sun beating down, like it wasn't too hot like it is today, but, think sun beating down, beautiful country, I can't talk enough about like, I mean, the food is really great, but there's something about that charming country setting that makes it worthwhile.
And I've got one. It seems like we're hanging out in Metro East, but
I
that's
know, I
I don't
know.
know. It wasn't by design, but here we are. There's a place that opened in March called August the Mansion.
Yes, you have
Um,
been excited about that, and I need to know.
it's the former Augustus Wastfield home that the locals over in O'Fallon always called the Mansion. So August the Mansion
Mhm.
became the couple that has renovated. It's taken 3 years to do it. And, it's funny, Dave Lowry, who just reviewed it, it's actually in the August issue of St.
Okay.
Louis Magazine. See what we did there?
I love that,
It's in the
right?
August issue. And, his first observation with the restaurants with cupolas always have great food. And
Oh,
this one has a great cupola and food to match. So I've
okay.
never heard that
I'll keep
comparison,
it in mind.
but I do believe what Dave says. If you remember that it was the mansion at Lake Point for a while, it was Paulo's at the mansion. It was most recently the grill at the mansion. This one, it's like, okay, is this one of those cursed locations?
Yeah, right.
I don't think so. This, I think, is going to stick. It is the couple of the folks that are running it are from Niche Food Group,
Okay.
and the food is really good. There's 3 dining rooms. They've got an arbor outside where you can have cocktails. There's a little fire pit where you can have cocktails. There's a patio in back, a chef's table there, kind of a private room that seats 10 guests. Anyway, but the food is what's outstanding there. They do a cornmeal fried cheese curd from Marcoute
Ooh.
Creamery, which is right up the
Yeah, that
road.
sounds wonderful.
And I didn't have this, but Dave Lowry did. The beef short ribs, he says, are the size of a tennis racket handle.
Oh my
You gotta love Dave's
goodness. Yeah,
descriptions.
that sounds wonderful. Wow.
And he says the what did he call the burger's great, and he called it thicker than a Stephen King paperback. So anyway, again, this is local beef. They top it with a jam and some arugula and some
Ooh.
Gouda, but they do a great take on Peruvian chicken, which is really outstanding. And they put a ají verde sauce below it. It's cilantro, jalapeno, a little
Mhm.
mayo, and then there's some roasted potatoes on top of that, some cauliflower, and then this chicken, which is things are just kind of this stacked.
Sure.
It's kind of like we used to do at Harvest Restaurant. Everything's kind of tiered anyway, but they do the same thing with an 8-ounce fillet. They serve it atop a potato croquette, this big giant
Mm.
potato croquette, and under that is some wilted spinach with some horseradish bechamel. So you've got you've got this
Yes.
fried item, you've got a big piece of meat on top, some frizzled leeks on top of that, and this beautiful spinach as the lower bed there.
Oh, it sounds lovely.
Anyway, worth the trip to O'Fallon. This is, I think it's an 1857 house. It's just beautiful. They've done, you know how some of these places can look like, grandma's house,
Yes.
super, with the heavy draperies and the
Yes.
fuzzy
A little
wallpaper and
much.
the maroon,
Yes.
colored
And
walls.
brass.
No, this
Yeah.
is nothing like that. It's beige inside and all the woodwork has been painted white and it's all the existing. They did as much as they can to preserve the existing finishes in there. And like when you go from room to room, I mean, the wood molding is it's like a foot thick.
Oh, wow.
It's really pretty and it's not heavy. It's light and they've modernized it, but kept the feel of the 1857 Victorian house.
Gosh, that sounds wonderful. Well, we must be on a converted house kind of thing. We talked about we were on a Metro East kick. We're also on a converted house kick. I take it. Um, The second to last one on my list is Root Food and Wine in Augusta. And this place got a lot of buzz. I feel like, people knew about it a little bit, but because it's out in Augusta, it was considered, a little bit of a trek. But they really kind of went on everyone's radar. They got a James Beard semifinalist nod this year for the chef out there, chef and owner Philip Day.
That will do it.
Yes.
And it's not like Philip Day just showed up
No.
there. He was from the Rack House.
Yes.
He was a niche guy. He was at Malmaison.
Yep.
He was at Chez Leon. He was at Café de France. So
Yeah.
Philip
he's
Day
been
just
around.
didn't just show up
Exactly.
and claim his semifinalist nod.
Exactly. Yeah. But this really feels, I feel like he's been at all those places, but there's something about this that feels just so personal for him. This is like his venture, a tiny converted house. Like if you're driving in Augusta, you will pass it up because you are in a residential neighborhood and it is a small house. This isn't a converted mansion or a converted farmhouse. This is a house
With a patio.
With a patio. And they do offer Saturday lunch and an occasional Sunday brunch. You have to keep looking at their social media for that because that's not a consistent offering.
And is it still 3 nights? Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Yes.
That's it.
That's it. Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. And on those nights, it's a tasting menu.
Right.
Not exorbitant price, though. Great wine pairings and drink cocktail pairings with it as well. Wonderful food. Wonderful, wonderful food. I would say it's still soulful while also being kind of like intellectually stimulating at the same time. It's not the kind of place where you have a tasting menu, you're going to need to run for the border afterward. I mean, you do leave satisfied,
right.
But he has his signature dish is this mushroom, and it sounds so weird, but it's this rich, umami-laden mushroom broth. He has, mushroom in there. I know it sounds crazy oohing and eyeing over a mushroom dish, like a mushroom kind of appetizer, but I'm telling you, it's fantastic. But you're not going to have a bad thing out there. It's fun to kind of go on that ride. You trust Philip Day. Worth the drive.
And if memory serves me correctly, I think I know we did, and I believe another local publication called that the best new restaurant of 2021.
Yeah.
And when Dave, our critic, reviewed it, he said, "Do you remember your last great dining experience? This will be your next one."
Yes.
And he went on, and he said, this diner is running short on superlatives. And he hadn't gotten to the main courses yet.
Wow.
Anyway, high marks, super high marks
Yeah.
for Root Food and Wine. They deserve that James Beard nod.
Yes, they did. Absolutely. Well, I guess I'll finish up. I have one more left on my list, and then I'll turn it over to you. I am going back over to Illinois, but I'm going somewhere so different, I feel like, than what we've talked about so far. This is a place in Eddyville, Illinois, called the Eagle's Nest. And
I've never heard of either one of them,
I know.
so please keep going.
I hadn't either. Of all people, the late Bashid Barami, the patriarch
Right.
of the long, not long, it's, only been gone 2 years. It seems like an eternity for me, but of Cafe Natasha, he loved fried chicken. He would travel wherever he needed to go for excellent fried chicken, and he was a very discerning man when it came to food. Well, I guess when it came to everything, but especially food. And he swore by this place out in Eddyville, Illinois. We went out there. There is a little animal sanctuary called Rainbow Ranch in Nashville, Illinois, which is darling. They have everything from peacocks to camels to llamas. It's this darling place where you can take a day trip. So you go out to Rainbow Ranch, you play with animals, and then you drive, 10 minutes away to this place called the Eagle's Nest. And I'm telling you, it is like home-style country family restaurant. Kind of looks like a bar. You can probably play Keno while you're eating your fried chicken. I mean, it's that kind of place. You're going to see the stag signs, but impossibly crispy crust, but not heavy. Light, flaky, but so crispy.
Sounds
super
like
juicy.
Sounds like juniper. How would you compare it to Juniper's chicken?
Probably even like I'm not saying this is a knock because I love Juniper's chicken. I would say it's maybe even a little bit more delicate than that. The breading's just a touch more delicate. But, oh my gosh, and just so simple. So simply seasoned. It's probably just like salt and white pepper. I mean, you don't taste like lots of spices and herbs, but you're getting this like just perfect crispy blanket for succulent chicken.
Is it cooked in lard like my grandma used to?
Probably, I don't know, but I
That's
would
always a secret that you don't
probably.
want to know about, but that's what makes for the best
Yes,
fried chicken.
exactly. And you're going to get mashed potatoes with brown gravy,
Sure.
and you're probably going to get canned green beans, and you're going to love every minute of it. I recommend, like, that would be my day suggestion for you. Rainbow Ranch with a side of Eagle's Nest chicken.
Sounds delicious.
All right. So that completes my list.
Okay,
What about
so I'm
you?
going to stay in Metro East, and there's a place up in Alton called State Street Market, and they are celebrating their 9th anniversary, I believe. The folks that took it over in 2015 are seasoned restaurant people. It's a couple. They're always there. They're dialed in. They know their stuff. There's a dining room. There's a copper top bar. There's this beautiful patio with a fire pit. The chef's been there 5 years, this guy named PK, and he knows his stuff, and he does everything. This is what's crazy. He does everything on a 4-burner electric
Oh,
stove.
wow.
Speaking of grandmas,
Yeah,
that's just,
right?
that's like, how the heck can you make all these wonderful things on this little stove? And Melanie is the manager, and she has a way with words about telling you about the menu descriptions that the guests want to light up a cigarette after she talks about it.
Wow.
That's how
Oh,
good the
that's
descriptions are.
wonderful. I love it.
Anyway, they're open for Saturday brunch. They're open for lunch. They're open for dinner. But there's some really, really good items there. They've changed the menu a lot, so you can't really count on a lot of things. If they have the asparagus and mushroom soup, get it. If they have a Braunschweiger sandwich
Oh,
with
gosh, that's
mustard
bringing me back to my
on marble
childhood.
rye, get it. They've got a BLT with avocado. They
Mhm.
toss the greens in an apple cider vin. So they do these
Ooh.
different touches,
Little bitty things here.
little bitty things
Yeah.
that make a difference. They've got a panko fried burrata ball with now I think it's being served with truffle oil and truffled balsamic glaze.
Ooh, you had me at panko fried
It
burrata.
they just do a really good job. They sous vide cook all their meat. There's always a pork chop on the menu. That's
Mhm.
changing now, I think, with the summer season. The pork chop is $30. The 8-ounce fillet is 35. Again,
Yeah.
this is a composed plate. You get a composed fillet dinner, sous vide cooked meat for $35. It's worth the trip to
That's
Alton.
great.
This place is great. They've got almost, we're talking about truth in menu. The wines by the glass are so cheap that I thought that these were like prices from 15 years ago.
Right.
They do Quilt Cabernet by the glass, $10. That's one of my favorite Cabernets. The guy that started his name's Joe Wagner. His father's Chuck Wagner of Camus. You might have heard of that.
Just,
Anyway,
minor
this
minor
guy,
label there.
right? This guy Joe is a incredible winemaker in his own right. Anyway, Quilt Cabernet, $10. That's crazy. And they've got some Coravin wines too, where they,
Yeah.
those the gizmo that manages to preserve expensive wines that are $15 to $20 a glass, and they should be twice that much.
Wow.
Anyway, don't sleep on the wine at State Street Market. People come up from St. Louis to have lunch or dinner, and just don't go up on Sunday or Monday because they're closed.
Okay. Plus, that's just such a fun drive. Like that river road, I feel like if you are, looking for a way to feel like you're out of town, driving up that river road, and I feel like Alton really is kind of this gateway to it. So probably you do your river road,
Or you
you
go to
come back.
or you head up to Grafton, and
Yeah.
it's just a great time. But yeah, that is worth the trip to Alton, and like there's a lot of St. Louisans I know that are making the trip just to go to State Street Market. Well, the last place on my list is one that's been there for 40 years in Kimmswick. And as soon as I say Kimmswick, you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
It's the revered and famous, legendary Blue Owl Bakery. The founder is Mary Hostetter,
Mhm.
who's just a lovely woman. She retired in 2022. Her daughter has now picked up the torch, and she's working the restaurant now. But most people will remember when O Magazine came out I think it was in 2011, and called out her caramel pecan Levy High apple pie. It's
Yes.
one of Oprah's favorite things.
Oh, yes.
That was crazy. It was the craziest thing. I talked to her after that, and they said to keep up with the demand, they had to hire extra staff and they rented an additional warehouse
Oh my
in House
goodness.
Springs.
Yeah.
And they began, and I remember her saying this, they began buying apples by the train car load.
Oh my gosh.
And that's what started this whole Blue Isle Bakery in House Springs, where
Yeah.
they're doing wholesale,
Yep.
and it actually supplies the Kimswick restaurant. But anyway, that's their claim to fame. But honestly, all the desserts there are really good. They do a caramel turtle pecan cheesecake. They do. The thing I like the best, and I'm not sure they have it at the restaurant, but I know you can get it to go, is a dobosh cake.
Oh, tell
layers,
me about this.
8 layers high. It's a mile high in its own right.
Yeah, right?
And they've got a lemon one. I think there's a strawberry one. And I remember the one we wrote about was a chocolate pumpkin dobosh in
Oh.
the fall. Anyway, all these items at, especially the desserts. I mean, they've got, quiche and sandwiches and things like that. But I mean, I would go there. I'd like double up on dessert.
Oh,
and
yeah,
maybe
for
have a cup
sure.
of soup.
Yes,
know,
exactly.
But I would go during the week or make reservations for the weekend because the weekends are crazy there.
It's such a great spot. I used to go there with my mom and grandma. Like, it was one of their favorite spots. I got my my partner's birthday cake there. They have the best chocolate cake. Their chocolate layer cake is maybe the best chocolate cake, I mean, I've ever had. It's so high and it's so rich and delicious. Yeah.
And one of their things that I remember they do have that is really different, there's again, this is a savory pie, and it's a baked chicken salad pie. Chicken salad in a pie
Get
crust.
out.
And you go, that's kind of weird. It's
Yeah.
pretty darn good.
Really?
And it comes with soup. Anyway, there's a lot of good things there. I love sitting on the patio there too.
Yes.
The inside gets a little crazy.
Yeah.
But boy, it's still a great place. If you're going to Kimswick, that's just like a mandatory stop.
Yeah, for sure. Or it's the reason to go to Kimswick, and then, you check out the rest of the town from there.
Yeah. We'll be right back. This episode of Our Cheats is supported by Urban Chestnut Brewing Company. Live your light style, St. Louis. Introducing Zwickel Light, an elevated light beer that proudly represents its local heritage. Zwickel Light is brewed by Urban Chestnut for casual beer drinkers and aficionados alike, with only 95 calories and 3.7 grams of carbs. It's approachable and accessible, yet uniquely St. Louis. After all, UCBC's responsibility isn't just to keep brewing great beer, it's to continue finding ways to share the local, independent spirit of Urban Chestnut and the entire St. Louis region with as many people as possible. Keep it light, keep it local, St. Louis. Visit urbanchestnut.com to find a location closest to you.
And now, back to the show.
We were talking about menu prices and online menu prices and how cheap the wine prices were at State Street Market.
Yeah, and really a lot of these places.
And I thought it was a mistake.
Yeah, exactly.
And that brings us to the micro rant of the day, is these contradictory menu prices where they are a mistake. And these places they've got the menu prices online, and you get there and they're completely different. I've seen this 10 to 15 to 20% different.
Oof.
And you just can't do that, especially anymore. Prices are too high to begin with. You
Yeah.
kind of get your sights set. You go, okay, I'm going to spend X amount. And if it's 10 to 20% more, you get mad.
Yeah.
And that's all we have to go on are these online menus. And, they should, the restaurant should at least, humor us by keeping those current. It's not that hard to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think we've talked in the past about places that don't even post the price at all, which I find like, gosh, I need to know what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
So then you think you know what you're getting into.
This is almost as
yeah,
bad as
yeah.
not knowing if it's 10
It
to 20%
really is.
more. So, it's not that hard to do, folks. Keep them up to date. Or we might just walk in and say, we'd like you to honor those prices that we saw online.
Oh.
That'll get them to change.
Yeah,
There we
right.
go. Now we got an angle, folks.
Yeah.
Hey, that's all for this week. Be sure to follow us and share with your friends. We always provide links in the show notes for everything you heard about today. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and follow along on Instagram at St. Louis Mag. And feel free to give us a follow personally at George Mahey and Cheryl A. Bear.
If you loved what you heard, show us some love by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. And if you're hungry for even more content, you can subscribe to our dining newsletters for the freshest coverage on the local restaurant and culinary scene.
Best dishes, and see you next time.